Oh my goodness. Hey, my Legion, how you all doing today? Well, a few months back, on YouTube, I heard that Devo was doing a documentary, and I mean, a video that was put up a little while ago. Um, and they got together this one guy, and he said they're glad they got together with him. And it was like the one that played at like the Sundance and different film festival circuits that did pretty well. I was like, "Where's this thing out? I want to see it. I want to see it. I'm going to see it streaming." It came out last year, so I mean, in 2024, but 2025 here. So you expect it to be on soon, right? I had no idea. I couldn't find it anywhere. It was a pain in the butt. I mean, I see like little trailers for it, and a little bit of ads and stuff. They showed like them at the red carpet ceremony and also it's a Devo there. And I started finding out that Netflix actually signed on to it. I looked up Devo on Netflix. Could you look up somebody just saw some Devo stuff on some of the channels? Right now, there's a thing about Truth and Devolution that has like all their videos up until um up until the stuff they did with Enigma, and that was it. And I didn't know, I didn't say anything about the documentary. And I always thought that Netflix was actually going to release it, and they finally released it today, this Tuesday. However, at 3 o'clock in the morning, so I wanted to watch it, and then I watched some. I was tired, so I slept some. I went back. Hey, Gordon, how you doing, buddy? Hey, Gordon. I went back and I wanted to check out some stuff. I rewound some and rewatched some stuff. It's like 94 minutes, and there's more. Back when I was a kid, I thought the Devo was clean because they never had a curse word or anything like that in their music. And I remember like getting like um, this one DVD in the army. Well, not DVD, but VHS because we were all Devo. It had the song from Worried Man in there from the movie Human High when he said the F word in it. I was like, oh, I guess they aren't clean. And I never heard a song Penetration of Centerfold from Duty Down for Future on there either. That song's dirty. And then have done dirty stuff. I never heard it before. And do like PG rated stuff, you know. Anyways, let me tell you about where. Oh yeah, I know. I don't see Keys anymore either. He left a comment on Twitter a long time ago, and what was the last time? I think. Okay, let me look it up. I'll look it up for you. I'll talk more about Devo. That's why I like doing live stream. I go all over the place. Let me look. I'll tell you the last thing he sent me a message. I mean, I'll just say when he said it. I'm not gonna say it wasn't anything private that they do anyways. I'm not really revealing private messages. Let's see. Yeah, I don't see Keys anywhere. He's always welcome, but maybe he has something going on. I mean, it's possible. Cause he was like off and on for a while. He used to always be on. He was off and on for a while. Let's see. On Twitter, he left me. Yeah, God, June 26th was the last message he left. Wow. So it's been a while since I heard from him. I agree with you, Gordon. Anyway, let me tell you about my history with Devo before I get into all this stuff. My personal history. Like most people, I grew up listening to the radio. I mean, I would buy. I mean, I had like a portable record player. Um, it was a nice record player. It's like it had like it was like in a green plastic case, and I had like you closed up and carry a place if you wanted to, but usually I just have it. I can close it up and then have it. It's like a little suitcase type thing. And I usually have like I think my parents bought me a bunch of like kids records and stuff. A lot of like those ones where you play has a book with it. And you play it, and you hear a beep and tells you to turn the page and stuff. They had like Yogi Bear stuff, all this other stuff. I heard there's a bunch of Marvel ones. I never had any of those. Be pretty cool to check those out, right? I remember listening to a lot of kid stuff. Mr. Rogers and a whole bunch of other stuff. I know my grandfather bought me a bunch of 45s. I like kindergarten. I didn't know half the stuff he bought me though. He bought me a whole bunch from though. I think it was from the antique store that was real close to where they lived. He must have been able to get them on the cheap. But some of those were good. But I don't remember. I don't remember a lot of those albums. What is that? One song I remember. He got soul. He else gonna be in here. He got soul, baby. Who else gonna be in here? I remember that song. This is way back when we were in the old house, the old house. Before the giant house we were in. Anyways, aside from that, we could buy. I think the very first record I ever bought was second grade. I remember buying. I usually wouldn't buy records, and Dad would say no and stuff. Or he would just buy like a kid's record, and that was it. A lot of times he would say no. I bought that 45 for "Give Me Some Loving" from the Blues Brothers, and that actually links into how I got into Devo. Right? Okay, go to like 79, 1980. We used to always listen to the radio going everywhere. It was just mainly like a top 40 station. Just rock you to listen. No, I mean nothing heavy or nothing like that, but just like regular top 40 station. And I remember Whip It came on, and I absolutely loved that song. That was like my gateway drug into the band Devo. I love that song. Love that song. Love that song. I remember I never bought the album because I never asked my dad, or I don't know if he would or not. And I remember going over to Eric and Chandra's, right? And they had the CD for Devo, right? They had the CD. I mean, the 45 for Whip It. I love the album. We played it. We danced around to it, and I wanted to do something different. And I don't know. I asked if I could play the other side, and they're like, "No, no one ever plays the other side." I said, "Can I just play? Can we play just once?" Like, okay. And then I think she turned around and said, "Mom, he's playing the other side of the record," and it was called "Turn Around" for Devo, and that was almost awesome too. So I knew they had two awesome songs. Turn Around is a great song, and they did a whole bunch of stuff that was not on Freedom of Choice. Turn Around was a great song. Like no one ever listened to the other side of the record, and I wanted to hear it though because I wanted to hear the whole record. That's why I remember like "Give Me Some Love." They had that one song for the Blues Brothers called "I Caught the Katy," which I never understood what that song meant. I caught the Katy, left me a mule to ride. I caught the Katy. Still don't know what the song means. I mean, maybe like, oh no, she caught the Katy. Maybe she left in a bus, and he had nothing, and he left on a mule. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure I could look it up on the internet sometime. Anyways, I love Turn Around too. I was like, that was just as good as Whip It, in my opinion. I think I listened to it twice. I put back on Whip It because they were bitching too much. But I did ask him, you know. And I love that. That's what made me become a fan even more. I love the song. I remember seeing him on Merv Griffin and a couple other songs. I missed him on Michael Douglas guy at school. Michael Douglas did in the morning, but I did see him on Merv Griffin. I didn't know they did Merv Griffin New Traditionalist too. I missed that one. There were a lot of TV shows, including Dave Letterman, which I never saw the Dave Letterman ones. And I remember loving the band. And then whenever New Traditionals came out, I remember I think I raised like $20 or something like that. I think it was like $8. I remember getting $8 New Traditionals out from Devo. And boy, this was the deal. I think I bought no, I bought like I bought new traditionals. I bought like it was the weird thing. It was like Gates is Still Alive. It was like three lives. It was like an EP record. It had like three or four songs on one side, three or four songs on the other side. It was from the Flower Hour, Power Hour, or something like that. And it was like I was like from a show, TV show, and it came in this really deep, heavy plastic lining. I can't. I know I can't sleep either. Don't feel bad. I can't sleep either, my friend. But it's okay. You can listen to my life, or see, I did drop a link again sometime. Or you could come up. But no, you're cool to explain. I don't expect you to come up though. I mean, I know I understand. I can't sleep either, but no, I did sleep a little bit. I slept a little bit through the night. I had some things I had to say on another panel. I mean, not chat. Anyways, I remember getting like that Devo Gates of Steel thing, and I remember getting probably the best deal I ever got. It was new tradition. I think it was $8. New traditionalist. $8 is a lot of money for a kid back then, anyways, especially with my parents. I remember getting. Well, I got. I think that I can't remember how much Gates of Steel was. That was around $8 too, even though it had less stuff in it. But I remember the new traditionalist. That was a good deal for $8 because you opened it up, and that's my favorite Devo, by the way. You opened it up, and it had like, well, I had the sleeve that had you could buy merchandise off it, right, on the sleeve, and then it also inside it had a poster that you could color a Devo poster on, and also it had EP inside, EP record inside for what they did for the movie Heavy Metal. It had Work in a Coal Mine, and on the other side had Planet Earth. Planet Earth was not played on the movie Heavy Metal. Working a Coal Mine was, I mean, but I think they played, trying to think, they played Through Being Cool and Working a Coal Mine in the movie Heavy Metal. Um, and it was, you got like, for $8, you got full length LP. You know, I think for merchandise, you got a poster and you got EP. One thing I was interesting to know was, you know, they hired their dad to play General Boy, you know, and he loved it. And he loved it so much he started to give them lyrics for songs and stuff, and they would always turn him down. But they used one of his lyrics. He said he wrote the lyrics for a song "Enough Said" on New Traditionalist, which I thought was really cool. But New Traditionalist is my favorite Devo album. I made no bones about that. Anyways, you know, I was a huge, big time Devo fan by that time. And I remember like they had an album, Oh No, It's Devo coming out in '82. But this time, they released an album every year. Now, I got them out of order. You know, it was like originally the Main Street album they had with Warner Brothers was Oh We Not Men, We Are Devo in '78, then Duty Out for a Future '79, Freedom of Choice in 1980, New Traditionalist in 1981, then Oh No, It's Devo in '82. And then they waited a year and they did Shout came out in '84. I think that was the sixth album. Yes, let me see. Yeah, sixth album. Anyways, with that album, I love that album. Then Oh No, It's Evil came out. I know Coda said that was his favorite album. I don't blame him. That's a really close one for me. I love that album. I remember there was some guy named Dr. Rock that used to review stuff. And he said it's time for Devo to do a country western album. Well, they have country western their albums anyways, you know, but he hated Oh No, It's Evil. I thought it was a great album. And I remember they did a review of Shout also. I remember he liked the song Fourth Dimension, you know. Anyways, I like that album a lot. I remember Wake Up for Christmas and coming downstairs. I think and that was like one of my presents was Oh No Devo album. And he had they didn't wrap up. He had it right there on display. Oh man, Devo. And then he got me to think Christmas songs. He wanted me to play Christmas songs instead of that Devo album. So I won't play Devo. I said, no, we're doing Christmas songs. Well, that's good. That's all right. Thank you, Dad. It was just crazy, man. And after that, let me think. I'm doing this all from memory. Um, I remember they were on Solid Gold. There were a lot of shows. I remember they were on, probably the best performance was on Fridays. They had these moving escalators. And they did a whole bunch of songs on Fridays. If you get a chance, that's really good. I didn't know they were on Fridays a few times. I missed they did the stuff in the yellow jumpsuits. And I missed that. And I missed, I might have seen it a long time. I don't remember. I probably did see it. But the one that really, really started my memory was Thank for New Traditionals. And it is on, after all these years, it's cool. It's on YouTube. And then you can look up episodes of Fridays on Tubi TV as well. I think if it's still on. Anyways, after that came out, well, they were on Solid Gold. I'll never forget. Well, they showed a couple songs on. They had like they did Peekaboo on there, and my mom said, "They're so weird. They're so weird. They're so weird. There's a clown in their video. They're so weird. They're so weird." Of course, because I liked it. Just like I liked Ozzy Osbourne, right? I never had Ozzy Osbourne out in my life. I remember my dad let me buy Bark of the Moon because they had like werewolves on it, right? And my mom said, "Oh, I didn't think you liked something to bite the head off a bat. I didn't know you liked something like that." She was a snob. She still was a snob, right? Anyways, yeah, I was a big fan of that album. Oh no, it's Devo. And it was like a big hiatus, no Devo stuff, no Devo stuff. And I remember seeing Shout at just casually at play, and then I think it was the first time I ever had like I ever got Devo on cassette because it was just an album, a record album. And it was like there wasn't much fanfare with Shout. I liked the album. Uh, I guess usually the music video still associated with the song. Are you experienced? There's a music video associated with it. And this is the only time I ever thought Devo video was really stupid. That was such a stupid music video. I like the album though, but I mean, no, that music video was stupid. But Jumbo, that place is okay. Jumbo Deal is okay. What happened after that? I guess that's it. I mean, they turned into Warner Brothers, and they didn't like the album, and they hated the album. And they said, "Well, we're gonna buy you guys out. Either you take that, or we'll sue you guys, or something like that." And the one manager said, well, I'll tell you what. Why don't you go ahead and take the money off, or I'll try and find you a record label." And I guess that happened. I guess they accepted the money and they got no record label. So that was it for Devo for a long time. I didn't know, and I found out he was doing music for Pee Wee's Playhouse, Mark Mothersbaugh. But he ended up becoming a composer. He did music for like that and Rugrats. Who's famous for both those are Rugrats. He scored a ton of movies and stuff. Even Cocaine Bear. You see, Mark Mothersbaugh. That's the guy for Devo. You know, and he married Lorraine Newman from Saturday Night Live as well too. I don't know if they're still married. Um, anyways, that was it for Devo for a while. I said, well, I guess that's it for Devo. No, I didn't know what happened. I mean, because you didn't have internet back then. I didn't know what's going to happen. I didn't know they were no longer with Warner Brothers. And then, I went to the military, and then after basic, I went to AIT, and AIT was pretty good. They had some really cool places on posts. Whenever you went past phase 5, which was like kind of like a lame ass version of Phase 4, where you couldn't. I mean, well, Phase 5 you had to sign in and sign out, and you couldn't really go places that much. You didn't have like free roll to go where you wanted to. You couldn't wear civilian clothes. I don't think you could. No, I don't think you could. It's been a while. Anyways, I remember after that, we used to go. I used to go to take the bus, and there was a mall. There was a 2-story mall. I've never been to a 2-story mall before. I mean, the closest thing is like the Mill Creek Mall. It was a 1-story mall, but there was couple places like Sears. I think had 2 stories. You know, you go up an escalator and stuff, but this one legitimately had 2 stories on it, and there was a little elevator on one of which was pretty cool. And it was in in Fort Gordon, Georgia, and you go to the record store, and it was cool because they had like metal. 'Cause I was a big metal guy too. I'm talking about Devo, which is new wave, I guess, but I was a big metal guy. And I remember there was a record store that had like metal and different things. Said like metal, hard rock, and go like thrash and speed metal. You know, speed metal's not used anymore. They used to say thrash now. Now it's like metal, death metal. Wow, they don't use grindcore anymore. Screamo, math metal, whatever that is, a whole bunch of other stuff. You know, there's so many different subgenres of metal and stuff. I remember going through the record store, just looking around, and all of a sudden I saw a Devo. Like, what the hell? Devo, total Devo on Enigma Records. I knew Enigma Records because I remember I think I ordered like a free catalog from there. I never ordered anything from it. I think I saw something for something. They said you could mail away for a free catalog. I said, okay. I never ordered anything from there though. They had a lot of weird stuff in there. And they guess their manager never helped them get a new record deal, but they signed up with Enigma Records. And then from that time, they felt like they were on the Titanic. It was sinking and stuff. But I was so happy to see him come back with a new album. And it was Total Devo. And a lot of people hated that album or said it's the worst album, which I don't agree with. I love Total Devo. And it was like to rejuvenate himself. They had a lot of songs on there, a ton of songs. I really liked the album. And then that was it for a while. And 88, and then like 3 years later, I was at Fort Bragg in the PX of all things. You know, looking through CDs, and I saw Smooth Neural Maps. And I bought that from Devo. And that's the only Devo album I don't like. I mean, the first couple songs are okay, and after that, it kind of like just becomes like one big mishmash. It's only like 31 minutes. It goes by pretty quick. I always want to try to give it a second chance, but I still can't get. The first two songs are pretty good, maybe 3 songs. I can never get through the whole album. No, I got through the whole album. I just couldn't get into it though, because they tried to do something they never did before. They wanted to sound like they tried to be like dance music though. You know, it wasn't them. But it started out okay though. I liked one or 2 songs on there, but it just wasn't them, in my opinion. You know, I don't know. And I dismissed that album, so I was kind of bummed. I was like, well, Devo have an album I don't like, finally. And then a little while later, Ryko just had Hardcore Devo Volume 1, and I love that CD. That's one of my favorite CDs of theirs. And so I brought back my love for Devo on that too. So I love that album. That was like something from like 74 to whenever. Because I guess technically founded in 1970, kind of, you know. And, that was it for Devo for a long time. But I love that album. And then, showing out, I wanted to turn to watch Dave Letterman. All of a sudden, Dave Letterman said, coming up next, I couldn't hear what he said on the show. Then in 2009, all of a sudden said, yeah, they're back with their first studio album in like 20 years. Here they are, Devo. Oh my God, Devo's back? and they did the song "So Fresh," you know. And I love that song. And ever since then, that was like, and they re-signed with Warner Brothers, and then, to my knowledge, that's the last studio album they ever did. You know, I've been a fan ever since. And it's just kind of weird because whenever, like, I remember that song "Working at Coal Mine." My mother hated that song. Devo did. However, the Judge did a remake of that song, and my mother loved that song. She hated the Devo song. And whenever "So Fresh" came out, it was a theme song for. I mean, they used to have commercials for Rachel Ray, and they have the song "So Fresh" on there, and they would play the Judge version of that. They would not play the Devo version of that on there. They play the Judge version "So Fresh" on for Rachel Ray, not Devo's version, which I thought was bullshit. But oh well, it is what it is. And I've been catching up on. I remember buying a couple of things I forgot while I was in the army. In Germany, I bought that "We're All Devo" that was on Ryko disc, right? And that was like all the videos they something different, whatever, except for "Are You Experienced?" And "Are You Experienced" is one stupid video. That's probably the worst video. It's so stupid. I think it's stupid. And then on Tubi or something, they have like the truth and the evolution, like a 90-minute thing, which includes all their stuff. I don't think our experience is on there because Jimi Hendrix cover. And then they show like the three videos. They have like two videos, and then they have like a like a similar video but different. There's three videos from Enigma on there too. That's not bad too. I was gonna review it, but I thought otherwise. And we all Devo, and then I went to a place called Coconuts, and there was a Devo album called Devo the Men Who Make the Music, which I was gonna rent from one video rental store. I never did. I remember buying it from Coconuts. I wish there was a Coconut still around, but I closed in Erie. I did like Coconuts, so it was pretty cool. No, what was I also gonna say? Um, I'm gonna deal with the men who had coconuts. That was why I was at Fort Bragg too. I think that was all the Devo stuff. I think, but that's how I got involved when I heard Whip It. And people was like, I remember watching that movie, The Underground. I did. They did a thing of like a documentary showing like their underground stuff. The hardcore Devo stuff. And that one guy said, I get tired of hearing playing Whip It. But that's how I heard about the band. I think most people heard about it that way too. Um, and that's pretty much my history of the band, you know. And I've been watching like stuff on YouTube every so often. I'm subscribed to the channel. They have the De-Evolutionary Times that talks about the history of a few of the music videos they made, you know. Well, there's supposed to be. I have one of those. I have one of those, Gladys. Yeah, I don't. I mean, I heard it's bigger than that. I mean, yeah, quit it. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, she was shitting on me on JB, so I didn't say nothing nice about her either. Fuck that bitch. Um. Anyways, they're called energy jobs. I know Grandma Ducky bought me one. I thought it was very nice of her. I have one of those things, and that's pretty much my history of Devo. I never ordered any of the merchandise in their albums. I mean, it was a record sleeve that had merchandise, but you'd be cutting it up. Oh, I forgot to mention. Later on, there was a guy named Scott Graham who had like a record trading place, right, in the Mill Creek Mall. That was pretty successful for a long time. That was like his dream to have that there. And then sadly, he passed away when he was young, real young, like 17, 18. And I remember buying Freedom of Choice from there finally. I didn't get Freedom of Choice like 86, 87. Probably just to make up for them not being around for such a long time. Oh, and I bought a book about Devo The Secret of bought a book about creating a freedom of choice album I got to read sometime. All right, now that's my personal history of the band. Let's talk about the movie. Like I said, I've been wanting to see the documentary for a long, long time. I thought I knew the story about Devo to a point, but no, I didn't know a lot. I didn't know a lot about Devo. I mean, I knew a lot about Devo, but some of the stuff I never knew about that happened with them. And first of all, it started like, I guess, with Mark Mothersbaugh. Could you do with Mark Mothersbaugh and Gerald Casale, and then Bob Mothersbaugh too? But you see, like Mark talking about when he was a kid, he pretty much went to school in the days. But I guess he was legally blind or something like that. And then he didn't get glasses until he was in second grade, and he could see things more in focus. And the whole thing with Devo kind of started with, uh, ow. Mark got like a pamphlet, like fourth grade, said Jocko Homo. Inside was like this primitive guy with a devil on there. And he's talking about all the sins of mankind are leading men to de-evolution, you know, and he had like a big thing saying de-evolution on it. And that kind of put the wheels in motion for years and years later when they were in college. I know Derek Casale and them were talking about being in Kent State and the protests and the shootings at Kent State because of the war in Vietnam, you know. And I guess they met with Mark Mothersbaugh because he wanted to be an artist too, you know. I don't want to say cartoonist, but artist. I guess he made all these decals around the shops, and like him with what do you call it, like lanterns or whatever you like that, you know. And I think it's okay. Oh, you don't have to want to go to Denver. Yeah, yeah. I made it big enough. Um, and they got together with Mark, like to show like they're protesting or against a lot of stuff. They thought America was going backwards, not forwards. You know, they were against idiocy and stuff. And he teamed up with. He started seeing Mark Mothersbaugh artwork, like you know, like things with potatoes and all this weird stuff, throwing up on the moon and stuff, all this weird, bizarre stuff. So I got to meet with this guy, and he started talking. They clicked real good, and he wanted to try to express it in different ways and talk about doing it through music. And at first, this was like a few years down the line, though. You know, they create all this. Mark is really smart with music. He likes to create with using like sounds and movements and stuff like that too, like he did with Jimmy guy, you know. And you know, they're trying to make the music more palatable. I guess they were doing like some mid headache shake roll, and I guess they performed, and they were trying to make it really bad, and it was bad. There was like about 60 odd people in the crowd, right? And then right now after that aired, it was so bad. I think someone probably put like 6 slices in there, but you never know. Anyway, um, how you doing? What else happened? Well, anyways, they're trying to make it more palatable. I think they made some show. They made like either this headache inducing thing, and people got so mad they all left. And they had to try to make it more palatable. And they played in different places. They said, and they were always they play a couple songs, they get kicked out because the owners never liked the music in Akron, Ohio. You know, they said they could do like covers of Bad Company and stuff like that. So they want to hire, they're hired on, but they never did. They just did their own thing. And they got the owners ended up being pissed off and stuff. I met one guy There was one guy who was going to deliver stuff to Devo. I was like, oh no, don't deliver stuff. I don't deserve it. They don't. Um, yeah, see you later, buddy. And whole thing about the way the money system works, right? And it's like, yeah. Yeah. Keith does spare one in his trunk. Oh, God, that was. Well, I mean, I don't feel bad for the way they were going after me. I don't feel bad for them at all. And they try to make it more palatable. And I started listening to bands like they weren't really going anywhere, right, with their music. And I tried to listen to bands like the Ramones, and their songs were kind of like slow back then. And also, those were around the time that they opened up a graphic art department, a graphic art store until they raised $3,000, which was enough money for them to make like the short film. They had like two videos in it, like they had a bizarre version of Secret Agent Man and also um, Yoko Homo on there, and that went through the um, seafood place, you know, and I'm trying to think. I'm blacking out now. Um, four people. That's good. Where did I leave off at? I try to make it more palatable. They found like the Ramones. The Ramones were very like succinct and to the point. And they had like pretty short songs. Most songs are under 3 minutes, and usually they're mostly fast. Some aren't, you know. And Devo said, "Well, we're playing a song slower. Maybe if we play them faster, it might be better." So that's okay. And through this, they end up going to play like CBGBs and stuff. And they were ordering a contract from Warner Brothers, right? They said, uh, they said they wanted to do their new album. And then this one guy, Richard Branson, said, "Well, I'll make you guys big stars. Don't worry about those assholes. Just worry about me getting, your stuff off the ground." And then he did a fine job as getting stuff from English. First English food I ate were breakfast and truffles. I loved them. And are you again? I thought you were gone. Well, I got to report this to your dad. Way to go. Way to go. Go to your dad. There you go. Um, Now I got thrown off. They got replaced on that day, and then whenever they released their first album got a lot of buzz, and they had that remake of their cover song of "Satisfaction" on there, and they had before they officially released on the album. Rick Jagger had listened to it. He loved the album. He loved that song, you know. And that song, the album did really well. And they said, well, in order to oh, in order to facilitate, they said you guys need to get a manager. So they got a manager. And then they talk about their second album, which they barely mention at all. They said their second album didn't do it well. I mean, didn't have any hits at all. A lot of people said it was their best album. Nutritious is my favorite album of them. And then by the third album came around, Warner Brothers said, "Hey, we need you need to listen up, guys. Right? If you don't have hit this album, you're gone. We have to cut ties. You know, because they promised a 5 album deal. Oh, I forgot when they were first approached by Warner Brothers, they were now this is I had no idea about. They were priced on like a first Warner Brothers wanted. They put on like a first. I can't remember the thing. If they liked the album, that you know what the deal was. And if they didn't like the album, you go do any deal you wanted, right? And whenever that was going to happen, Richard Branson came up from Virgin. Said, "I'm going to make you guys the big stars, right?" They offered. And he said, "Well, we're on this one thing right now for Warner Brothers." And he said, "Fuck that! I'll take care of everything like that. You don't have to worry about nothing." And they promised him twice the amount of money that Warner Brothers was going to give him. And whenever they signed on the line, Warner Brothers actually sued him and Devo. And basically, Devo was just no one saw Devo for like 8 months, and it was in litigation. And then it finally got settled out of court. You know, I forgot. I had no idea that happened though. Hi, Anthony, my baby. How you doing, buddy? Oh, man, I mean, no, it's just Jake. Their mom's nice. I know their mom. I thought I had no idea. I thought he was gone. You know, I thought he was gone. Oh, Miss Stevens is good. Um, I gotta show John and Dan that too. I got the screenshot now. Yeah, I haven't told his dad again. I thought they took care of him. Anyways, he went to Freedom of Choice, and then that Sunday he had a slate for hit. Gordy won tanked, you know, and then it's like, well, everyone said, I guess that's that. And then this one guy decided to start playing the song Whip It, and Whip It became a massive, massive hit. It made the album, the guys plenty of money, right? And they were really happy. And then the new album, New Traditionalist, he said, "Hey, when are you guys going to make a new Whip It? We want you to make a new Whip It for the album, you know, a new hit song." And even though I think there are hits on the album, like Through Being Cool, Jerking Back for, of course, Working at a Coal Mine, which did play on the radio, you know, I guess they wanted good enough for Warner Brothers, right? Because they said it would be like a lie. They said it wouldn't be true to themselves. So they do another Whip It, though. And from there, they went on to Oh No, It's Devo. And they talk about the album, and the album did was successful. But I mean, at the time MTV came about, they were playing all Devo's albums, music videos, because they released a lot of them. They played them a lot, and then like whenever that good came out, like everyone else is like Michael Jackson and all these other people making videos, and MTV's playing them. And they stopped playing the Devo stuff. They decided to release a cleaner album. They released That's Good with and let's see with a French fry going through a donut and it's supposed to rub that side. MTV said, "We're not going to show you these. It's too suggestive." Um, and by that time, they released, there was a lot of, there was like a 2 hour year break and they released Shout. Now, Shout, Warner Brothers hated that album, Shout. And that was the very first Devo thing I ever bought a cassette, you know? They didn't have the album there, so I bought a cassette. And then they had no fanfare whatsoever. I was just a random find. I think my dad found it. You know, he got it for me. It was just completely random. And that was 2 years. But usually they would make a movie, anything album every year. And the last one was Oh No, Steve on 82. Nothing 83. And they released this one 84. Um, I think it got there was a thing called the showcase where they review album records. I think they said Shout was okay. But they weren't really that crazy about it. Warner Brothers hated it. They said, "Well, I guess we're going to have cut ties for you guys." And that was it. And they said they had a buyout. They said, "You accept the buyout and then you can go wherever you wanted or they keep you in court, you know." And, their manager said that we would take you on a, get your new record album. They never did, and they talked about them side with Enigma Records, and they said they were on a sinking ship when that happened. And whenever they talk about Enigma Records, there's like 11 minutes left in the documentary because pretty much skips some of the stuff, the futuristic stuff. And they talk about what else was going on whenever that happened. They did that, and they did strange doodle maps. They they said that they did make a dime on a lot of stuff that they did like three music videos. I think one was like there was two different versions of this one song, and that's pretty much it. They said that the one Bob one was saying like his heart wasn't into it anymore, and it was kind of sad. They said, I guess that's the end of Devo, and I know Mark went on to like composing and stuff for movies and things. So it was like a new life with him, and he created a sound studio with his one brother, and it was still like the artistic process. And Jericho Casale went on to do like direct like commercials and stuff and videos, and then he did some songs like Devo songs are really weird with the music videos. They're okay, I guess. And then like I said, they got re-signed by. That was pretty much the end of the video, and they saw they got like they're in pulp culture. They were mentioned in. I don't remember the thing in Back to the Future. They were mentioned in Revenge of the Nerds. Those guys were just like Devo. They're just like Devo. I'm glad they acknowledged it though. Because they kind of were, and that was pretty much. Yeah, they said they wanted to do like, and they kept going in the future. They wanted to do more positive image. They did not talk about the one great bad with the movie. They didn't talk about how they came to the do another record with Warner Brothers again in 2009 that was called Something for Everyone. I don't know what happened. They had like blue energy drums in that one too. Quite good. You know, but I was really entertained. I mean, that was my only gripe of the show. But I mean, I can't really say anything bad about it. It's definitely like TVMA. I know it would be TV PG-13 or like that. No, lots of F word. I mean, it was quite good. It was quite good. I was very entertained by it. It was just sad whenever, like you said, come to an end. But I mean, they're still popular. They're doing a tour with the B-52s of them, and they said they were getting tired of like touring and stuff because it's like they had an album, they do a video, they would tour, and it became like Groundhog Day for them, and they were tired with the whole grind and stuff. And like whenever show ended in it was like 4 years between albums. That's a long time in music business. And I've been a huge Devo fan ever since I heard Whip It. I was a huge Devo fan. Then when I heard, well, I mean, I heard Dip, I was a huge Devo fan. And then when I flipped that side over and listened to the other song, Turnaround, I knew I was a fan because that was just as cool. Like, hey, this is a cool band. I had to check out more stuff of theirs. But they're talking about like we are in the future, like being like more positive or how we can change things, which is really cool. But they did not talk about what happened or how they got re-signed by Warner Brothers. Because I saw there was a whole bunch of like these promotional videos, I guess they did for like YouTube and stuff, which I didn't see till way after the fact. Wait, so let me use the restroom. Hold on. Um, I used the restroom. No, I really liked the album. I mean, I really liked the show. I mean, two of my favorite bands in the world are well, I mean, two of my all-time are Guar and Devo. And you could get more different, you know. I remember whenever I wanted to do the Devo album right as soon as that dropped on Netflix, I was able to do that. And with the War album, I heard the document came out and wanted to. I don't have Shutter. My buddy John did, and we watched it at his place. And then he said, like, "Well, why don't you do a review at your place? Because you know more about that than I do. More about than I do. You know, he likes them though. And it's a great documentary. It's a great documentary. It said, what was it? This is Guar. That's just called, and Devo just called Devo. You know, um, and I did like a 45-minute review of that one. Now I'm doing like I don't know if it was a live one. It was like a pre-recorded one. I just did on camera. Now I'm doing a live stream of Devo, and this one's over 52 minutes, which is great. Um, yeah, I really I love the Devo thing. I give it 10 out of 10. I mean, it could have been. I wish they would have included what happened with them getting re-signed by Warner Brothers for at least the last tour of the album 2009. And like I said, they're doing a tour with the B-52s now. I mean, they're still accepted in pop culture. I know my sister was going to get me tickets to see them for my one birthday, and it was like $140. And she said, "Hell with that! Don't you ever spend that much? Don't you ever spend that much?" I mean, I want to be mean, my sister. Don't you ever spend that much? That's way too much. Gee, that's way expensive. You know, I love the band, but it's expensive. And no, I remember like they had the whole. I was on a panel with MC and Spoof. I don't know. Spoof got upset with. I don't know because she sent you the band when they talk about Satanic Panic. I was asking about the band Striper and some other bands, and asked about like we like Life of Brian and stuff like that. And I don't know. She got a little annoyed with me. I don't know why. No reason to. And it was kind of like the whole Satanic Panic with Devo. My one friend thought Devo was short for the devil. I was like, you're reaching, pal, on that. He thought a Devo was short for the devil. Can I remember growing up as a kid? I remember I said I love Kiss, and people would be like, shh, shh, don't say it. I mean, kids in Satan service. Okay. So I stopped talking about it. And then whenever they always said that they were bad. So I stopped talking about them at school. And then whenever they got rid of their makeup, they were popular all over again on school, on the radio and stuff. All kids thought they were cool again. What about hypocrites? But no, I meant he thought Devo meant the evolution was short. No, Devo was short for the devil, but it's short for de-evolution. And then one day so I kissed about kid to say sort of then I remember hearing AC means ACDC means Antichrist Devil Child. Um, it's just crazy. They was just what they are, and they're like the Devo is just as important now as they were back then. I mean, they went through a long struggle to because their music was. I mean, I listened to Hardcore Volume 2, and that has some. That was not one as good as Hardcore 1, which had more palatable songs. But they went through a big. They went through a big thing to get on the record, though. But they said whenever like that. That film came out and they said like they had David Bowie like introduce them. Well, I could tell Pinky about that. They're listening with David Bowie and then David Bowie was talking to him and stuff. David Bowie said he was going to record them and go make a record with them. And they said, well, it's not really my thing or something like that. Why would I hook you up with this one guy that produced stuff for David Bowie? And he did stuff called Low. He said a guy's produced records now. He produced their first record for Warner Brothers, right? and they said there was lots of tension. Like he wanted to add stuff, they want stuff to stay the way it is, and he wanted to add stuff. Then whenever like they saw him doing stuff, they all had their eyes on. It was he said it was a bad experience. Um, because they said it was the toughest guy to work for because they're too stiff and too serious. So, I mean, it's their work though. They could like flush their work down the toilet. You know, 'cause I remember when on the Gore album they had like that the Hello album on Shimmy just went to cassette, and I don't know if it probably went to vinyl too. I don't have the vinyl. Um, and I bought my last CD at Walmart, and it was you see, no one else is chatting there. That's okay. I just want to make sure I did. I love the band Devo. I want to make sure I did a video after the movie dropped. You know, I fell asleep halfway through, and I turned it off. I was getting tired. Still a little tired now, but not too horrible. And I really liked the movie. I give it a 10 out of 10. That was really good. I want to thank everybody who's cool enough to comment in the chat and stuff. So let's do 5757. So I love the movie, the Devo documentary on YouTube now. So hope you like the video, buddy. Till next time, please. Till next time, please. There we go. Take care, my leader. Good night, bye. Good night. Good night.